Well, hello, my friends. This is Steve from Amateur Hour Gaming, and today is day 46 of the 100-day challenge. We continue to be spending some time on the Skyblock, and as promised, today we're going to be taking a look at Tinker's Construct. As you can see, I've actually cleared out a little space down here for some of the various workbenches and whatnot that are part of it. But before we get into that, real quick, I want to show you something neat. So, this aqueous accumulator, alright, I waited very patiently for it to finally create one bucket of water, only to discover that you can't actually use a bucket to get that bucket out. So, I cooked up some sand, made a Buildcraft tank, plopped it on the top of this baby, and set the top to be the output, and now we have effectively infinite water. If I took a bucket and filled it up, it would take seconds for this to refill. It's fantastic how quick it creates water now with a second source block next to it. So there we go. That's infinite water sorted out. We took the long route and the kind of high-tech route, but I'm okay with that. Also, we tangled with some mobs a little bit. I managed to bone meal a couple of trees, so I'm good for saplings, as you can see here. And we've got a decent little supply of wood. But you can tell, both from my NEI settings and some of the gear that I have in my inventory, that yeah, we are ready to take a look at Tinker's Construct today. So, while I do have a crafting station here, I'm going to go ahead and just make another one because I find it useful to have a crafting bench close at hand in my Tinker's Construct setup. So, we might as well plop this baby right here, and let's go through the things that we need. Now, Materials and You by Skyblock will walk you through all of this, so, you know, by all means, feel free to check that out if you're playing Tinker's Construct. We're going to do this at a bit more of a rapid pace because I'm somewhat familiar with this. So first up, you want a stencil table. Worth noting, the color of the wood that you use will determine the color of the end product. You want nice white, use a birch. You want the standard sort of, you know, browny oak, go ahead and do that. I don't know if it works with rubber wood from mods, but hey, anyways, there we go. So a block and a blank pattern gets you a stencil table. A pattern and a jungle wood block gets you a part builder, which you use the stencils on. Blank pattern and the pattern and a chest gets you a pattern chest, and a crafting table and a pattern gets you your tool station. Worth noting, if you're curious, this is how you make a pattern. It requires 2 sticks. You can put this anywhere on the grid, I think, but it has to be in this shape. So there we go. So 2 sticks, 2 jungle wood planks. It's not shapeless. It does have to be like that. Bang, you get yourself a pattern. So, what are we going to do with all this? Oh, and I got a new book from Materials and You. I unlocked it. So, here we go. This will have the tool recipes and stuff that we will work with shortly, but we'll skip over that for now. You have to escape to close the book for what it's worth. So let's actually shuffle some stuff around in our inventory here. I think we're reasonably safe for the moment. So we can get all these bits and bobs here. Okay, so there's actually like a workflow to this if you really want to set it up. You can set up your stuff any way that you like, you know, more and less compact as you choose, but I like to just go straight left to right. It makes everything nice and simple. Stencil table goes down first. I'll show you how we use that in a second. We're going to use that to make patterns. Down goes the pattern chest, which we will store all the patterns that we make in. Now, this is important. The pattern chest and the part builder should be adjacent. As long as they're touching, you can open this part builder and you see this is the inventory from the pattern chest sitting next to it. It's just a simple convenience. I mean, you can obviously carry the patterns for whatever tools you want to build on your person, but I find it nice and neat to do it that way. Oh, and there's one empty spot. That bugs me. Well, we'll put something there. So, how do you make Tinker's Construct tools? Well, it all starts with patterns. So, open your stencil table, plunk in a bunch of blank patterns. As you can see, you can go back and forth through a series of them here. Now, I'm only going to focus on the basic tool set here because while I could build a smeltery to melt metal to make higher tier metal tools and stuff, I probably won't do that. Although having said that now, I just realized that I think you can make most of these tools out of lower tier materials such as stone and wood, that being what's available to us. But of course, The tool rod's key. It's the equivalent of the stick in a normal crafting recipe. So we take the tool rod first. Next up, we want a pickaxe head. We're going to get a shovel head. We're going to get an axe head. That's 3. We should get a sword blade. And we'll need a guard. Now, a wide guard is going to make the broadsword. It does bigger damage, but it's a lot slower and more of a defensive weapon. It blocks very well. The normal handguard pattern, when you assemble them, as you'll see, will basically end up getting you kind of like the standard issue Minecraft sword. And the crossbar pattern, I think, is used to make daggers, which are an interesting throwing weapon. Or a rapier, which is a much faster weapon. So, that's actually all I want to work with right now. Although we may come back and take a look and see if we can make some of the bigger stuff. And there we go. So, now, like I was saying, you take all these patterns, plunk them down in here. And, once those are available, we now want to sort of start taking a look at materials in U. So you got various tools, materials, and modifiers. Now, why are we doing this, right? Why are we making tools in this complex fashion when you can just make normal tools? Well, the answer to that question is that Tinker's Construct tools cannot be broken. You can name them, you can customize them, you can upgrade them and all this kind of stuff. As you see, you can add modifiers to them with various materials, but they cannot be broken. They will break in the sense that their durability will wear out and you need to repair them. But once you build this tool, it will always be with you. So as you can see, it shows us the recipe, say, for a pickaxe and a shovel and a hatchet and etc. as you go through here. I'll let each of you guys browse this for yourselves. But what we're going to do is we're going to build our basic set of tools and a sword. Oh, there's one other I'd like to make. So let's go back to, actually, we don't even need to use the crafting grid. You can make a pattern in your 4x4. See, that's another nice thing about this, is you can actually get started. Oh, that's not what I want to do. You can get started with Tinker's Construct with nothing more than your basic... I don't feel like that's what I want to do. Nothing more than your basic little 4x crafting grid. I mean, we'll need that pattern anyways, but that's fine. So I would like one other pattern, because you'll notice that we didn't really have anything that represented the hoe. In here somewhere, we should find a pattern for something called a scythe. Scythe head pattern. Or a mattock, maybe? But yeah, I think this is just interesting. I really like the change to the crafting system, and the fact that, like, your tools are durable, that you can personalize them, customize them, all this kind of thing. Oh, we're going to need a tool binding pattern. It's good I stumbled across that. I don't know, it just, like I say, it just sort of adds something. A hammerhead. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's take a look. What other options do we have available to us? The hammer is sort of an upgraded pick. It digs in a 3x3 area. It's awesome, but since we're not really going to do that kind of digging here on the Skyblock, I probably won't build one. What else might be of use to us up here? Not a knife. Well, maybe a throwing weapon. A chisel head. That lets you make, like, chiseled or cracked brick and stuff like that. Large plate. A broad axe head. This is neat, because if you don't have Tree Capitator loaded in your mod list, which you should. Tree Capitator is awesome. It totally helps make the game playable. The broad axe head pattern creates a bigger axe that effectively mimics the ability to knock stuff down. The excavator again will dig a 3x3 area. The large blade pattern just helps you make larger weapons, and I guess as we discussed, the hammer. And of course you can make a bowstring, a fletching, an arrowhead, and you need a tool rod or a stick to make them. Now, this is sort of interesting, but I've never had a lot of success with bows with this mod, so I am probably going to just leave that option off the table for now. Do I have a torch? There we go. I wouldn't mind a torch. Say here. Oh, you don't want to play. Let's get up here and put you there. Yeah. Not balanced at all, but whatever. So, now that we have our basic patterns, we're going to need some materials. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use cobblestone. We don't really... I was going to say we don't have any other options available to us, but we do have metals. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. You can't make metal tools without a smeltery. We could get into that, and it's possible to do that in a skyblock, though it would be very, very slow. So for the sake of this video, I think we'll just go ahead and make our stuff out of stone. So, you see we've deposited all our various patterns in the pattern chest. You'll pardon me while I rearrange them to suit my need for things to be arranged in a certain fashion. Actually, we'll do that. We'll do that. I think of sort of like utilities, tools, and then you know, weaponry. So let's make some stuff. Let's make some stuff. Oh, and it's screwed it all up. That's ball ache. Okay, so we want to make what? We want to make a pick, a shovel, an axe, and a sword. So that's 4 pieces. So we are going to need 4 tool rods. Now you'll see what's interesting about this is it shows you this material cost, right? It's only a half a material, so 1 cobblestone is actually going to make you 1 stone tool rod and 1 stone shard. Now you can just chuck that shard back in the materials, get a 2nd stone tool rod. So we'll plop 1 more in, we'll repeat the pattern, and there we go. So we have 4 stone tool rods, right? That should probably be good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. Now, from the recipe book, I know that I'm going to need 1 tool binding. I think you need 1 for your pick, but the other things don't require a binding. So again, we're going to take our binding, and we have 1 little shard left over. We'll keep that handy. Maybe we'll turn him into another tool rod while we're thinking about it. Now, of course, the higher tier tools, such as like the hammer and the excavator and stuff, they take like 8 material to make the basic pattern and whatnot. So let us see. Next up, let's start making the actual material bits that we want, right? So we take a pickaxe, so it's 1 to 1 now, which is good. Flip the shovel in. For 1, actually, you know, you can just leave this stuff stacked, of course, and just swap your patterns out as need be. Now this hatchet's neat too. This hatchet sort of, it equally has that similar tree capitator aspect to it, which is good. And we know we want a handguard, which only costs a half a material. So that was silly. We should have just used the other one from the tool binding, but there we go. And we'll clear that baby out. Now it's worth noting, see, it's not going to let me make a sword blade until I clear out this little stone shard. So bang, there we go. So that, yeah, in a rather quick fashion, is building your parts. Okay, so next up is part assembly. And this thing is neat. So you've got the option for repair. We'll look at that in a second. And then all the recipes that you currently have available here are just listed as tabs. So if we just click on a pickaxe, right, it'll show us what we need to plunk into place. So we put a stone tool rod, something. Now, a pickaxe. Now you have 2 things that are interesting here, right? You have the option to name your tool, but you only have the option to name it when you're actually making it. You can't ever drop it back in and try to name it again. So if you want to name your tools, which I think is awesome, go ahead and do so now, and don't miss the opportunity to do it. So it's got a durability rating of 65. Stone tools are actually pretty weak. A mining speed of 4, which isn't terrible, and it'll mine up to iron. If I had made a head out of, say, iron, it would mine up to diamond, etc., etc. And there are 3 modification spaces available, which we can get into in a little bit. But for now, we just have an unnamed tool, which I'm okay with. Next, I'll move to the shovel. Now, you notice, as you flip through, see how it's holding the materials in place? That stone tool rod is staying where we want it to be. So a shovel, quite simple. Shovel and a shovel head. Bang. Move on to the hatchet, I believe. Put our hatchet in. Bang. And, though this was the one that I wanted. Okay. But let's finish up this sword idea. So we have a stone handguard, stone tool rod, and a blade. Like it's our sword. And you'll see we got 1 tool rod left, which is fortunate. So, we are actually going to make a mattock, which will require an axe head and a shovel head. So let's go back to our pattern table, nice and simple. Plop in our shovel. Switch it out for an axe head. There we go. Drop that back where it goes. Come back here. And again, I love how these all these Tinker's Construct tables, they don't cough up the inventory that you're working with. You know, they're actually quite happy to hold things in place. And a mattock. Now this is sort of a hybrid of like an axe and a hoe, and it'll also dig for you. But as they tell you in the tool guide, it isn't really a replacement for any of those particular tools. I just keep it mostly to cultivate land. So yeah, actually let's rearrange things. So there we go. That, my friends, is actually the very basic introduction to Tinker's Construct, right? So we built our various, tool stations, or crafting stations as you like. We built our patterns. We plunked those in the pattern chest. We discussed how to actually build parts, and then we went through part assembly and naming. Now, real quick before I go, I will... Let's see here. What have we got? Do I have anything interesting that might be useful as a modifier? So let's take a look and see if we can just modify this this pickaxe that we have. So let's just skip through all this real quick. All right, and yeah, as you can see, each material, like the mod maker's been very good. They talk about the different material traits that you'll get, the different levels of mining speed, how much damage they do, all this kind of stuff, right? And Cactus is actually one of my more favorite early game ones for weapons and the like. And you see, it's got much more durability. I really should have made all my stuff out of Cactus, but I didn't have any at hand. Bone is good as well, lots of durability. Not very good for weapons, but good for tools, obsidian, etc. So let's skip past this. There's some interesting recipes. Yeah, I think in this mod you can make paper out of like wood or something. And these are some metal alloys that you can make later. But we're trying to get past all this to modifications. So as you can see, for example, the first one's up is a diamond. Adding a diamond to the edge of a tool seems to make it more resilient, so you can really increase the durability, and it also increases the mining level. Emeralds have an effect. For redstone, you get speed, I think. Auto repair. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. Hard to lay your hands on, but if you find some moss cobblestone, you can create a tool that will never break. You just need 8 mossy cobble, and you get 1 ball of moss. Let's see. So what can we get our hands on fairly easily? That would be redstone. So for the purposes of this, we're actually just gonna like plop a few redstone in. Let's take a stack of it, just to show you. I mean, I'm not going to use this tool for anything really. So how do you modify a tool then? Well, you click on this, you drop it in. Now, if you wanted to repair it, you would just put in the material that the head of it was made out of. So if it's a stone head but a wooden handle, you're going to use stone. And actually, I can just show you how to do that real quick. Let's just, I don't know, let's hit something with this baby real fast. There we go, and we'll just get a little bit of damage done to it. So I don't know, let's break down these walls. As you see, it takes durability hits the same as any normal tool, but its durability is going down. As you can see, we've done some damage to it. So now let's plop it in there. And first up, see, durability 57 of 65. We'll plop a piece of cobblestone in there, right back up to 65 of 65. Get a nice little sawing sound, and there you have a brand new, fully repaired pick. And as I say, when the durability gets all the way down to 0, they break you. They make this awful noise, and then you can't use them anymore. Like, your pickaxe won't pick things up. But what you can do is repair them and reuse them afterwards. So again, we're gonna try and increase this guy's mining speed. So let's make some blocks of redstone here. Go back over, and we have 3 modifiers remaining, right? Let's plop this in. Now you can see it actually changes iconically, and down here we've used up one of our modifier slots, and we have 9 out of 50 possible redstone. And you can see the mining speed is already increased from 4 to 4.71. So let's see what we can do. Now, the only sad thing is you kind of have to do this one at a time, as you see me doing. But now my pickaxe has haste, and 36, one more, okay, and then I would need individual pieces to round it up to 50. Now, I could do that 3 times, have 150 redstone and a lot of haste on it, but I would not be able to add any other modifiers. Let's just finish this up real quick. 49 of 50, 50 of 50, right? So there we go. So let's see. Got from a mining speed of 4 to 8. So let's experiment. Does this feel faster to you guys? I don't know. You can watch back the video, rewind, but it's definitely a bit quicker, and that's just one example of the modifications that you can do. As I say, my other favorite is probably the ball of moss, but this wasn't really intended to be a complete and utter tutorial. It was more just a quick look at Tinker's Construct. So, with that, I am going to say thank you very much for hanging out with me today on the Skyblock. Today was day 45 of the 100-day challenge. Once again, my name is Steve from Amateur Hour Gaming. I hope you enjoyed that. We may come back once or twice more to the Skyblock and poke around a little bit, but I'll have to take a little time and think about what we're going to actually do. So perhaps we'll play something different in between. But regardless, thumbs up if you liked the video, folks. Thumbs down if you don't. Please feel free to comment either way. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today, and I look forward to spending some time with you tomorrow. Take it easy.